alcohol, evenings, and fat loss. Your questions answered. Hey team, welcome to this week's episode of The Inspired Show, the show that is dedicated to helping you become the best version of yourself, mentally as well as physically. This week's episode is all about answering your questions. So over the last week, I asked you guys to send in your questions through social media, and I've picked the 5 best questions to help you guys move forward in your journey. But before I answer those questions, if you've not done so already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It means 1, you get updated every time we put a new episode up, and 2, it helps us reach and inspire more people to make positive changes in their life. Don't forget to smash a like on this video as well so we can get pushed out even further. Let me know any big takeaways you have or any questions you'd like me to answer for you for the next Q&A episode. And don't forget to share it to somebody who may benefit as well. So we're gonna get straight into these questions, and these 5 questions are really great questions, and I see so many people struggling with these topics. So we're gonna go through them one by one and give you as much info on these as humanly possible. So the first question is, I do really well during the day, but completely lose it after 7 p.m. How do I break this cycle? Now, this is a vicious cycle that so many people are stuck in, and I've been there myself as well, where the day seems to be going really well, but as soon as you sit down, the kids are in bed, you finally get 5 minutes to yourself, that's when the wine comes out, the snacks come out, or we just go into a full-blown binge. So how do we actually start addressing that? Well, for most people that are watching these episodes, one of the primary goals is fat loss. Now, what's one thing that most people do when they're trying to lose fat and lose weight? They diet. So they're restricting themselves, they're eating very little, and what that is doing is accumulating stress and overwhelm through the course of the day. Now let's combine that with a very busy life, work, kids, poor boundaries. It's an ideal environment for us to use alcohol and food as a way to deal with what we're going through once we finally get 5 minutes to ourselves. So one of the biggest things that we can do to mitigate this is stop starving ourselves and start nourishing our body. Start eating a sufficient amount of food and making sure that our deficit isn't too big. Now, if you don't know how to work out your deficit, download the free starter plan. It's linked down below in the captions. Now, once you've got the right amount of calories, you then need to optimize your choices around food. You want to ensure you're nourishing your body at least 80% of the time. And again, in the starter plan, it goes through how to do this. 20% of the time, allow yourself a little bit of leeway. That's absolutely fine. Make it enjoyable, make it tasty, make it sustainable. We then combine that with some evening structure. So having a cutoff point for our evening meal, allowing ourselves a nice and indulgent snack if needed within our calorie intake, but most importantly, a wind down routine, because ultimately what we're looking for at the end of the day is a dopamine hit, some relaxation, some de-stress time. And food and alcohol is our go-to at the moment. So I recommend creating a self-care menu. This is a compilation of things that you can pick and choose from when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling overwhelmed, to allow you to decompress and decompact. So that's how you stop the evening spirals. So question number 2 is a really great question. I've started and stopped so many times. How do I actually stick to it this time? Really great question. Now, I see a very similar pattern from a lot of people. They're starting again every single Monday or every few Mondays. Now, me personally, I've started again on a Monday more times than I've had hot dinners, and you probably have as well. So how do we actually start to fix this? Well, for most people, what's happening is they've eroded trust in themselves by saying they're going to start and never sticking to it. So deep down, they don't think they can actually do it. And 2, they're trying to spin too many plates at once. Monday comes, they diet, gym, steps, hydrate, whilst trying to go to work, be a parent, and be an adult. And quite frankly, it's pretty much impossible. By the time we get to Wednesday, we're burnt out, we're miserable, and we're going, sod this, I can't be bothered, and you go back into old routines and habits. So we need to actually start rebuilding trust in ourselves. Now, depending on where you are on your journey and the habits you've already got will depend on where you actually start. Some of you may have some great habits already. It's all about compounding on top of that. So what I would recommend is start off slowly. Pick one thing to focus on over the next week. It could be a healthy breakfast. It could be more hydration. It could be going for a 10-minute walk every single evening. Just pick one thing. I then want you to do that one thing for the next 7 days. After 7 days, assess how well have you done out of 7. If you've done it every single day, absolutely amazing. Ask yourself, does this feel automatic? If the answer is no, then do it again for another 7 days. If the answer is yes, awesome. Let's add in another habit. And then you compound that over time, but only add the habit in once you feel you've got the hang of it and it becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth. This does one of two things. One, it starts making change automatic. And two, it's starting small and rebuilding trust in yourself. And when you do that, you'll never have to start again on a Monday. Question number 3, and I get this a lot, surprisingly. I'm not a heavy drinker, but I'm definitely a daily drinker. Is that actually going to affect my fat loss? Well, yes and no. When it comes to fat loss, it's simply a numbers game. Providing you're in a calorie deficit and you're consistent in that deficit, you're going to lose body fat. It's as simple as that. So if you're drinking every single day, but that drinking doesn't take you over your calorie allowance for the day and you maintain that deficit, you're going to drop body fat, okay? Now, does that mean you should be doing that? Potentially no. If you're drinking every single day, you need to ask yourself, what is the reason for that? Because it can have a knock-on effect. Now, alcohol will impact things like sleep quality. It can impact decisions around food. It can impact energy, get up and go. And you need to ask yourself, are you actually living at a high standard if you're drinking daily? So what I recommend is looking at your relationship with alcohol and asking yourself, what is the reason for the daily drinking? Is it that you're using it to relax, unwind? Is it because of socializing? Is it just a habit? And ask yourself, do I need to be drinking every single day, or could I reduce that to optimize 1, my fat loss goals, and 2, raise the standards of myself in terms of more energy, more confidence, more get up and go, and better sleep and performance. So yes, you can still drop body fat whilst drinking alcohol daily. However, it's not recommended because again, it can impact things and slow things down. And 9 times out of 10, people that drink daily, they do find it a lot harder to drop body fat. So question number 4, again, another great question. And it's one of my favorite questions, and I get asked this all the time. How important is sleep when it comes to fat loss? And sleep is something that often gets overlooked by a lot of people. It's one of those things that kind of slips into the net when it comes to our fat loss goals. Now, sleep can be a superpower if you optimize it. Now, when it comes to sleep, it's really important for all-round health, well-being, rest and recovery, but also for fat loss as well. Like when you sleep, it helps regulate your hormones. And there are some important hormones that are in play when it comes to fat loss, particularly hunger and appetite hormones. When you have poor quality sleep or lack of sleep, guess what? Your hunger and appetite hormones are going to be out of sync, which means you're not going to feel as full when you're eating your food, which again is not a good thing when you're trying to drop body fat because we need to maintain our deficit. And secondly, our appetite hormones are going to be out of sync, which means we're going to be craving more foods as well as not getting full up. Again, potentially taking you over your calories for the day and impacting your fat loss goals. Combine that with just being simply tired, so we're going to be moving less, which means less calorie expenditure. It can have a massive knock-on effect with regards to fat loss. So if you haven't got good sleep right now, you definitely need to improve that. So I'm going to give you some quick fire tips, but we do have a deeper dive on this in the YouTube as well. So make sure you check that out. So sleep-wake cycle, super important. Go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. Really important. 4 hours before bed, eliminate caffeine. Make sure you're relaxing before going to bed to de-stress, decompact, and ideally avoid your phone about 60 minutes before going to bed as well. So before we get into the last question, just want to let you guys know that our doors have opened for our next 90-day challenge. This is where you work with me on a one-to-one basis over the course of 90 days to lose 20 to 30 pounds of body fat and help you get absolutely amazing results. If you're interested in this 90-day challenge and working with me directly on your nutrition, your movement, your mindset, but most importantly, raising standards for long-term change, simply drop me a message on any of my social media pages and we'll have a chat to see if we can help you achieve those goals. So the last question is a really great question, and it's, I train really hard, but the weight isn't moving. What am I missing? And there's nothing more frustrating when you're putting in all the hard work, all the effort to reach your goals, and yet the scales aren't moving. So this is what I teach my clients. When it comes to training and exercise, you want to separate it from fat loss and losing weight. Why? Well, because when it comes to fat loss, weight loss, and exercise, whilst exercise will contribute towards calorie expenditure, the amount it contributes isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. It's quite small, in fact, probably around the 5 to 10% mark of the total expenditure. The most contributing factors are going to be your basal metabolic rate, which is your metabolism, keeping you alive. That's a big expenditure. Your needs, i.e. your daily steps. Your thermic effect of food, so the food you consume, and then also managing your calories as well. Like, they're going to be the biggest drivers of fat loss. So if you're putting all the effort into exercise simply to lose fat and drop weight, and you're not seeing the results, you're going to get frustrated. So split it. Exercise is for getting physically fitter, physically stronger, for your mental health, and most importantly, raising your standards as a human being. That's why you should be exercising. And when you exercise for those reasons and the knock-on effect it have on things like your confidence, your posture, the energy you have with your family members, your children, you'll get much better relationship with exercise. When it comes to fat loss, if you're not losing fat, ultimately, you're not eating in a deficit. The food you're consuming is matching your expenditure. And again, this is common with exercise. A lot of people undereat, they exercise really hard, and they have binge and blowouts because they're not fueling efficiently. So we need to be looking at our nutrition. We need to be ensuring that fueling our workouts, especially if we're working really hard, but we need to maintain a smaller deficit, okay? That's the way you drop body fat. Now again, if you've not had the starter plan, download the starter plan. It'll help you work out how many calories you need. And again, it'll surprise you. You probably need a lot more than you think you do. It'll help you stay on track, and it'll give you much better results and help you be more consistent with that. And consistency is key. So think about what the things that are stopping you being consistent. Is it your relationship with food? Is it emotional eating? Is it your poor sleep? Once you figure that out, it'll be a game changer. And like I mentioned earlier, if you need help with this, our 90-day challenge is now live. We've got 3 spaces left for the one-to-one coaching program. Just message me on our social media platforms and we'll be in touch with all the details. Now, hopefully you found today's episode helpful with those 5 key questions that we asked. If you've got any more questions I'd like to cover in a future Q&A episode, then pop them down below. Not only will I send you a direct message to answer the question, but I'll also cover it in the next episode as well. But guys, thank you so much for watching and taking time out of your day. Don't forget to subscribe, smash a like, smash a share, and I'll speak to you very, very soon.